everyone! Hello! Good evening. We are the next presenter. Tonight we have something for you. To start with, I will show you a picture. And please chat box below for your answer. Okay, what have you observed and what are those pictures? Yes, it is a 4 pics, 1 word. And the first picture is teaching, the second picture is language, and lastly, the pattern. So, what do you think our lesson for tonight? However, tonight we're going to focus on the approaches for teaching language situational, or we can call it oral approach. We decide to review this approach because due to our reality, the approach doesn't require many resources, so it can be applied in any locational environment. So, what is situational approach? Situational language teaching is originally called oral approach. It occurs by following a series of success and failure paths through a realistic situation based on achieving the main learning objective. Situational language teaching is based on a structural view of language, speech, structure, and set of basic vocabulary. For example, she was eating noodles. The SLT approach is its emphasis on the presentation of structures in situation. The evolution in oral approach and situational language teaching is developed during 1930s to 1960s. Two leaders in this movement were Harold Palmer and Hornby. Harold Palmer tried to teach grammar through oral approach. He constructed a universal logic was applied in all languages of the world, and the teacher's responsibility to understand and apply those in the class. The oral approach and situational language teaching relied on the structural view of language. Both speech and structure were seen to be the basis of language, and especially speaking ability. Situational language teaching is characterized by two major features: vocabulary control and grammar control. Vocabulary control focuses on both vocabulary and reading is most salient trait of SLT. So some linguists they give much importance to vocabulary and some they give it to reading. So at the end they found mastery of a set of high-frequency vocabulary items is believed to lead to good reading skills. So vocabulary leads to perseverance to reading skills, those connection between both vocabulary and reading. Next is grammar control. Grammar control and analysis of English and a classification of its prominent grammatical structure into sentence pattern, also called situational tables, is believed to help learners internalize grammatical rules. So grammar control, we can say that concerning these methods or concerning the control grammar, it says that in order to know the grammatical rules, the teachers should classify the grammatical structure into sentence pattern. Okay? So for learners internalize the grammatical rules, there should be analysis and classification grammatical structure into sentence pattern so that the students know the grammatical rules. They involve systematic principles of selection, gradation, and presentation. So, selection. Selection is the content where they're going to teach in the grammar or vocabulary or etc. So, gradation or the grading principle, it's about to know simple from complex or easy to hardest. Next is presentation is how the teacher present the teaching language. So, let's go to principles. Situational language teaching held is a behavioristic stand to language learning. It dealt with processes rather than the condition of learning. So they are more focused on the processes of the learners. So first is the receiving the knowledge or materials. Second, fixing it in memory by repetition. Third, using it in actual practice until it becomes a personal skills.
So now, let's proceed to the objectives of the situational language teaching. It's involved to teach practical command of the four basic skills of language, approach through structure, which are listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Last is the accuracy in both pronunciation and grammar errors to be avoided. So the ultimate aim is to be able to respond quickly and accurately in speech situations with an automatic control of basic structures and sentence patterns. Next is the syllabus, techniques, and activities. Situational language teaching syllabus is designed upon a word list and structural activities. Grammar teaching involves a situational presentation of new sentence patterns and drills to practice these patterns. The teacher moves from controlled to freer practice of structures and from oral use of sentence patterns to their automatic use in speech, reading, and writing. We have also here the learner's roles and the teacher's roles. First is the learner's roles. Listen and repeat what the teacher says. So it is for emphasis and to ensure that everyone has heard. Next is respond to questions and command. Because being able to ask and answer students' questions is an important part of teaching and learning. Asking questions helps you motivate students' curiosity about the topic and at the same time helps you assess their understanding of the material. Next is the teacher's roles. First, in the presentation stage, the teacher serves as a model in setting up situations. It's either eliciting or modeling some language that the situation calls for. Presentation may consist of model sentences, short dialogues, illustrating target items, either read from the textbook, heard on the tape, or acted out by the teacher. And then, he becomes like the skill conductor. So we have also here advantages and disadvantages of the situational teaching. So for the advantages, these are the subject matter can be explained easily. It helps to introduce the vocabulary by using rare as well as planned situation. Teaching becomes very effective, interesting, and alive instead of a burdensome process. Meaning is cleaner and easier to understand, which facilitates the students in learning the language knowledge by heart. The disadvantages for these are teachers found it very difficult to present all the items in appropriate situations, and this form an extra burden for teachers. A boring teacher who is not sure about when he is teaching. The learners has no control over the contents of the learning, not account for the fundamental characteristics of language, namely the creativity and uniqueness of individual sentences. So that's all for the disadvantages. So before we will end our discussion, we will give you a quiz. for your quiz, write your answer on a paper and take picture or in MS Word and take a screenshot and upload it in our group page. So that's all.